Hey, this is Max at 343 Labs. We're a music production school based in New York City, Berlin, and online. And today I'd like to show you a clip by one of our instructors, John Selway, which is taken from 343 TV, which airs right here on our channel several days per week. Now, if you want to watch the full stream, head over to studio.343labs.com, link in the description, which is our new producer hub where you can meet other producers, get free content, collaborate, and get feedback on your music. Enjoy the clip.
There it is. This is the Carbonizator, which is, it's a pretty intense distortion effect with some built-in modulation, right? So, and tube emulation, it looks like. It's got valves, different types of valves in it. And I don't know, the interface, it's like spray painted neon smiley face. So I think just like you can tell from the design of this what the vibe is going to be a little bit. Like it's a little raunchy and a little silly and ravey. And, you know, it's a fun little processor to play around with. So that's part of it, right? I'm playing around with this plugin to see what it can do. And then, you know, this kind of effect is something that you can use on, like, you know, you want to make like hardcore, heavy duty, ravey kick drums. It's good for that. It's good for just destroying this, you know, any kind of distortion, right? But like, it seems like this one's designed with like aggressive, ravey, noisy stuff in mind, right? So that's kind of, and then I thought, all right, let's start an electro track that is a little bit heavier, right? A little dirty, a little grindy, a little ravey, maybe even a little breaky. I was playing around with some break beats to see how this thing sounds on drum loops. So yeah, I love it. Neo-traditional Spain says, let's destroy sounds. This thing is good for that. Cool. So let's get over into Ableton Live. And, you know, I said earlier, I came into today not exactly sure how today was going to go. And this is a sketch that this just literally happened right before I started streaming. So this is just in the early stages. David Curtis, please play nice. Play some music and shut up. Okay, I won't say anything more. All right, so this is what's going on. I mean, this is pretty much right. That's what the Carbonizator is doing, right? I've just got this simple, you know, Ableton Live drum synth kit going on, and it's okay, right? But then this is what we're doing with the Carbonizator. So we're like, you know, tube saturating the crap out of the sound. So it's nice, it's warm, it's fuzzy, it's dirty, but it doesn't get, at least until you get into the modulation, it doesn't get that much more dirty than this. I mean, there's some extra resonance, like this is gonna kind of push into that saturation a little bit more. I'm noticing this is a new plugin. I'm noticing that there are some little bugs. It, you know, hopefully, like it was having a few audio glitches when I was trying it out earlier, and you'll notice when I turn this knob all the way, it won't let me go up past, I don't know, 1 o'clock. Like maybe I need to reload the plugin. So there could be some, you know, user interface things to look at for these guys. But so far so good in how it sounds. If I wanted to like drive this even harder, I'd need to like kind of clip into it. Right, but you can hear you know, it kind of lets you really push hard into it. Right, but to get this more insane, I mean, and this already sounds good if that's what you want. If you want that big, thick, warm, kind of fat, tube saturated sound on a bass or a kick drum. Let's try another one of the valves. All right, much different, right? This one's like, where'd all the bass go? Interesting. What happens if I push the resonance? All right, there's got to be something to do to make that more dirty. All right, and this is another nice one. This one's really solid. There's more sub in this one. Now, Josh Holiday just pointed out, create a chain and mix dry wet. You know, looking at this as a little bit of a plugin overview review, you're absolutely right. Like a dry wet control in this would be a really good idea. A lot, you know, most modern kind of distortion saturator effects have some way to blend in the dry signal. We can make one ourselves. Definitely not a new trick, but in case you're new to live and you're still learning about this kind of stuff, I can take a plugin that needs a dry wet that doesn't have one and make one by putting it in a rack, right? And we'll call that chain my wet chain, right? And then I can create another chain that's dry, right? So now let's say I go back to that less bassy, more mid-rangey kind of resonant valve sound. Right now I can balance the unprocessed and the processed, right? So that is definitely a way to handle it. And then you can get fancy. You can go in and have a macro and make a wet-dry balance. I'm just going to keep it simple for right now. All right. Actually, let's just ungroup that. Or not. Okay. So let's see what else this thing can do. We've got AM amount, so amplitude modulation, right? So this is going to modulate the volume up and down. And it's not labeled, but there's two types. I'm guessing that, I'm not sure what that does. We'll have to listen and see. And then we've got speed. But basically, there's an LFO modulating the amplitude of the distortion. Oy, oy, oy. And right away it's stereo, so there's definitely stereo offset. All right, so that's the amount, the amplitude of modulation, and then we got, whoa. All right, then we're getting into, that's really low frequency modulation, now we're getting higher. And the higher we go, we're gonna hear more ringy, metallic, dirty, crazy stuff. That's insane. It's cool. There's like this, it's doing left and right phase offset, so it's making it sound super wide. Now, I noticed when I was playing around with this a little bit earlier, sometimes it cancels. Sometimes, I'm not exactly sure how. I got it a certain combination of amplitude amount and rate or speed, and then it sounded like weird and phasey, and like, and then I tested it in mono, and like it disappeared. So that's something you want to be careful with. And when you do a really wide stereo phase modulation like that on something, what if I put if I make this mono, we'll put this after the plugin. All right, that's okay. It's going to sound totally different in mono. Whoa. All right, thankfully not canceling now. It happened before sort of randomly. Maybe it'll happen randomly again. But I really like it. I like this kind of dirty stuff. Now, sometimes I'll make these kinds of things myself with live devices. I'll combine like saturation and overdrive, and I'll put stereo modulation on it. But you know, this has got its own kind of weird, dirty, twisted character going on, and you can just slap it on there and get crazy. A little bit over. I like the sound of that, using this as like a kick slash bass line kind of situation. I like it. But it's already like messy too. And like, it sounds cool when you get the rate at just the right sort of polymetric, sort of out of sync feel. It'd be nice if we could be precise and sync the LFO. That would be cool. that's something that would be good to add to a plugin like this. You could do rhythmic patterns, right? So it doesn't get out of sync with your BPM. But I also like it being a little weird and floaty and going in and out of time. Now I'm hearing it cancel sometimes. I like this. Just switching between those different tones is kind of cool. Because there's some kind of like, it's a little bit unpredictable, this might be a good candidate for doing some resampling, like capturing audio and then chopping it up. This other AM type is weird. It sounds like really clicky. This is the one that sounds a little bit more out of phase to me. It's more dirty too, more dirty and clicky. It sounds good faster, like higher rate. It's hard to make it sound smooth though, because of that crackling. I'm guessing it sounds like when the position's down, it's a triangle or a sine wave, and when the position's up and you hear that crackle kind of sound, I think that must be a sawtooth wave. That's probably, it's sounding more, but then I'm also hearing like a stereo phase difference, so it'd be interesting to know like what they did under the hood, because it's not clear, right? We can just only go by what we hear at this point. Okay. I think at this point, what I liked the best was when I had the amplitude low. And it was kind of doing that rolling. See if I can get it back. There it is. Go have less of an amount, and now it's sort of more subtle in the background. It sounds more like a kick with some weird floaty stereo buzzy things going around it, and then if I bring up the amount, it becomes more sustained. Okay, what else have we got? That's the other kick, right? And that's one of the things I was doing with this. I was thinking, all right, I'm turning this kick drum into a bass sound, basically. It's like a droning bass note. And that's cool, but it becomes less of a kick and it doesn't have the same energy. And I wanted something punchy. So I added another shorter, less, well, I don't think I processed this one externally at all. It's just the built in, there's a little bit of overdrive and saturation built into the DS kick. So it's already kind of nice and tight and compressed sounding, just straight out. And then combining that with this. I'm gonna make sure that I still on this, yeah, I'm putting wide stereo effects on a low frequency sound. I wanna make sure that it sounds okay in mono. It's got a weird little phasey kind of comb filtering thing going on. It seems to kind of holds up in stereo, in mono. So let's see what else we've got. That's the amplitude modulation, and that's a lot of the craziness of this effect is doing the amplitude modulation combined with the tube distortion. But we also have filters. that low pass, it sounds like it's before the valve, right? Because it's not cutting the high frequencies out of the distortion. It's just... There we go. Let's see what this sounds like if I get rid of the amplitude modulation. Huh. There it is. Yeah, I still think there's some control interface issues. This plugin's just a little buggy, right? Because like, look at that. It's going from 0 to like loud right there. Yeah, I might have to reload this plugin because it is not behaving. Yeah, let's try that. Let's see. Let's get rid of this and go load this plugin up again and make sure that it is working properly. All right, so we're going to grab that, drag it in. There we go. No, it's behaving strangely. Let's see what happens if we play around with the LFO type and amount and speed. Nope. Yeah. That's disappointing. Or does it only apply to what the AM modulation is doing? Aha! All right, see, I'm discovering something. So the filter it was working, but it's not working on the dry signal. It's working just on the saturated stuff. At least that's what it sounds like. And that sounds cool. All right, so in the same way we've got like amplitude modulation, now we've got filter modulation, and we can go into the audio range, right? Like, let's try it with a slow rate. You can hear the wobble up and down. And we get into the audio rate, and we start to get a little more complexity because of the sidebands being created. We build up that resonance a little bit. You start hearing kind of like slightly metallic, edgy kind of stuff. Let's hear how that sounds with the beat, right? It's a little less heavy now. It's more trippy, kind of. I missed the bass, though. Let's see if I can get it back. All right, I'm on the more mid-rangey bright too. Whoa. But maybe I like it less resonance. Okay. Let's see what the high pass does for us. Well, now that is definitely before it's hitting the valve, because all those overtones are going away when we lose that low frequency. But then if I drive the resonance into the valve, wish there was like a way to increase the volume going in. Sounds kind of cool. Right, so yeah, doing that, like having the resonance way up on the high pass filter, it's doing something a little bit like what this extra resonance knob is doing up here.
I hope you enjoyed that. Again, if you want to watch the full stream, head over to studio.343labs.com, link in the description below. And that is our new producer hub where you can find free content, collaborate with other musicians, get feedback on your music, and just meet a community of like-minded artists and producers. See you next time.